There's a particular kind of guilt that stays with you, that sits deep inside your chest and never quite lets you forget. It's the kind of guilt that isn't caused by a single event or decision, but by a long accumulation of choices, words, and actions that you wish you could take back. For me, this guilt has been a silent companion for as long as I can remember. It began in high school, a time that should have been carefree and full of promise. But for me, it became the beginning of a journey I never thought I would take. It was a journey filled with mistakes, regrets, and the eventual understanding that the only way to find peace was to confront the truth and ask for forgiveness. It all started when I was 17. I had always been a good student, quiet but friendly, someone who kept to herself but never made waves. I had a small circle of friends and I was content with it. But there was one friend, Jessica, who had been my best friend since we were kids. We had done everything together, shared secrets, and supported each other through the ups and downs of adolescence. I thought we would always be there for each other, that nothing could come between us. But something changed our senior year. I started dating someone new, a guy named Lucas. He was charming, handsome, and the kind of guy who seemed to have it all together. Everyone liked him, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I was part of something exciting, something bigger than me. But there was one thing about Lucas that I didn't quite like. He had a way of making others feel small, of subtly putting people down without them realizing it. It wasn't overt, it wasn't mean-spirited, but it was there, hidden beneath his charming exterior. And for some reason, I ignored it. I made excuses for him, telling myself that he was just confident, that he didn't mean any harm. Jessica didn't like Lucas from the start. She didn't trust him, and she made it clear. She told me more than once that she didn't think he was good for me, that I deserved someone who treated me better. But I dismissed her warnings. I didn't want to hear it. I was in love, and I thought that was all that mattered. I didn't want to choose between my best friend and my boyfriend, so I did what most people in my situation do. I ignored the red flags and pushed her concerns aside. The tension between Jessica and Lucas grew over time. Every time we hung out together, there was an underlying sense of discomfort. Lucas would make jokes at Jessica's expense, calling her out on little things that were hardly worth mentioning, and I would laugh, thinking he was just being playful. But looking back, I realized that I should have stood up for her. I should have told Lucas to stop, that it wasn't funny, and that I didn't appreciate him making my best friend feel uncomfortable. But I didn't. I stayed silent, too caught up in my own relationship to care about what was happening right in front of me. One day, Jessica confronted me about it. We were sitting in the park, just the two of us, and she was upset. She told me that she didn't feel like I cared about our friendship anymore, that I was choosing Lucas over her, and that it hurt. She told me that it wasn't just about him, it was about how I had been treating her for months, ignoring her feelings and making excuses for his behavior. I could see the hurt in her eyes, and for the first time I realized just how much I had been blind to what was happening. But instead of listening, instead of apologizing and trying to fix things, I reacted poorly. I got defensive. I told her that she didn't understand, that I was happy with Lucas, and that she should be happy for me. I accused her of being jealous and of trying to ruin my relationship. I didn't want to hear what she had to say because deep down, I knew she was right. I knew I had been neglecting her, and I was afraid to face that truth. In the days that followed, things got worse. Jessica and I barely spoke, and I spent more and more time with Lucas. He was happy to have me all to himself, and I was too blinded by my feelings for him to notice how much I was pushing Jessica away. Our friendship unraveled slowly, and I did nothing to stop it. Eventually, Jessica stopped reaching out altogether, and I didn't try to mend things. I was ashamed of how I had treated her, but I was too proud to admit it. I was afraid of losing Lucas, afraid that if I made things right with Jessica, I would lose the person I thought I needed most. It wasn't until a few months later that I realized how much I had lost. Lucas and I had broken up. It wasn't a dramatic breakup, it was a slow fade, a realization that we had never really been compatible. He had moved on quickly, and I was left alone, feeling empty and regretful. I tried reaching out to Jessica, but it was too late. The damage had been done, and she had moved on with her life. She had found new friends, people who appreciated her, who treated her with the kindness and respect she deserved. And I was left alone with my guilt, realizing that I had lost one of the most important relationships of my life. For months, I carried that guilt with me. I thought about the things I could have said, the ways I could have stood up for Jessica, the ways I could have been a better friend. But no matter how much I thought about it, I couldn't change the past. I had hurt her, and no apology could take away the pain I had caused. I felt like I didn't deserve forgiveness, like I didn't deserve to have her back in my life. But then, one day, I decided to do something I had been avoiding for so long. I wrote her a letter. It wasn't an easy decision, but I knew it was the only way to begin healing. In the letter, I apologized for everything I had done wrong. I apologized for ignoring her feelings, for choosing Lucas over our friendship, for not standing up for her when she needed me. I told her that I understood if she didn't want to forgive me, but that I had to tell her the truth. I had to let her know how deeply sorry I was, how much I regretted the way things had turned out. I sent the letter, unsure of what would happen next. I didn't expect her to write back, and I didn't expect her to forgive me right away. But a few weeks later, I received a response. In her letter, she told me that she had forgiven me, that she understood how easy it was to get caught up in a relationship and lose sight of the people who truly matter. She said that she appreciated my apology, and that she hoped we could reconnect, but that it would take time. She had built a life without me, and I had to respect that. Reading her words was a bittersweet moment. I was grateful for her forgiveness, but I knew that things would never be the same. Our friendship had changed, and it would take time to rebuild the trust that I had broken, but I was willing to do the work. I was willing to show her, through my actions, that I had learned from my mistakes and that I would never take her for granted again. Over the next year, Jessica and I slowly began to rebuild our friendship. It wasn't easy, and there were times when I doubted whether it would ever be the same as it once was. But with time, we both grew. I became a better listener, someone who understood the value of true friendship and the importance of showing up for the people you care about. And Jessica, through her kindness and patience, allowed me back into her life, albeit with some reservations. She had every right to be cautious, and I respected that. Eventually, our friendship healed, though it was different. We had both changed, and our lives had moved in different directions. But we were able to find a new kind of bond, one that was based on mutual respect, understanding, and forgiveness. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And for me, that was enough. Looking back on it all, I realized that the guilt I carried for so long was necessary. It taught me valuable lessons about friendship, loyalty, and forgiveness. But more importantly, it taught me that it's never too late to do the right thing. It's never too late to confront the truth, to apologize, and to make amends. And even though the past can never be changed, the future is always full of possibilities for redemption and growth.